By January 1945, Germany was producing more tanks than at any other point in the war, more planes, more ammunition, and yet they were losing faster than ever because the one thing they couldn't manufacture was time. In the final 12 months of the war, more Germans died than in the previous 5 years combined. Soldiers, civilians, entire cities wiped from the map in weeks. So what did the last year of the war actually look like from the German side, not from the history books, from the ground? You've seen D-Day from the Allied side 100 times, the liberation of Paris, the push to Berlin, but flip the camera around, stand on the other side. What you'll see isn't just defeat, it's a machine tearing itself apart from the inside. In mid-1944, the German war machine still looked dangerous on paper. They controlled most of Western Europe. The Eastern Front, while pushed back, was still deep inside Soviet territory. And the Atlantic Wall, a line of concrete bunkers stretching from Norway to Spain, was supposed to stop any invasion cold. But behind the numbers, the cracks were everywhere. Germany was fighting on 3 fronts, East, West, and Italy, with an army that was already bleeding out from 5 years of grinding attrition. Their best divisions had been chewed up at Stalingrad, Kursk, and North Africa. What replaced them were old men, teenagers, and units rebuilt with soldiers who'd never seen real combat. And then came June 6th.
D-Day didn't just breach the Atlantic Wall, it exposed a fatal flaw in German command. Rommel wanted the panzer divisions right at the beaches to crush the landings on day 1. The High Command wanted them held in reserve, inland. The compromise? They were positioned too far back to stop the landings, but too far forward to form a proper defensive line. And then there was Allied air power. Every German column that moved during daylight was destroyed. Reinforcements that should have taken hours took days. Counterattacks arrived piecemeal, too small, too late, and shattered before they even made contact. By August, Operation Cobra broke the American front wide open. And at Falaise, an entire German army, nearly 100,000 men, was trapped in a pocket and annihilated. The survivors didn't retreat, they ran. No organized withdrawal, no defensive lines, just men streaming east toward the Rhine with whatever they could carry. But here's what most documentaries don't tell you. While this disaster was happening in France, something even worse was unfolding 2,000 miles to the east. 3 weeks after D-Day, the Soviets launched Operation Bagration, the single most devastating military operation Germany ever experienced. In just 5 weeks, Army Group Center, the largest German force in the east, ceased to exist. 28 divisions destroyed, over 300,000 soldiers killed or captured. The Soviets advanced 300 miles in a month. Germany now faced an impossible equation. Every division sent west to fight the Americans was a division not holding the line against the Soviets, and every division sent east left the Western Front thinner. There was no right answer. There were only varying speeds of collapse. By December 1944, Hitler had one card left to play. He stripped the Eastern Front of its last mobile reserves, elite panzer divisions, and threw them into the Ardennes forest in Belgium. The goal? Split the American and British armies, capture the port of Antwerp, force the Western Allies to negotiate.
It was the biggest gamble of the war. And for exactly 72 hours, it actually worked. The Battle of the Bulge caught the Americans completely off guard. German panzers punched through weak American lines in the forest, advancing up to 50 miles in 3 days. For the first time since Normandy, Allied commanders were genuinely alarmed. But the plan had a fatal dependency: bad weather. The Germans needed fog and clouds to neutralize Allied air power. The moment the skies cleared, it was over. American and British fighter bombers tore apart German supply lines. Tanks ran out of fuel within sight of their objectives. The tip of the German spear literally stopped moving, not because of enemy resistance, but because they had no gasoline. When the offensive collapsed in mid-January, Germany had burned through its last strategic reserves. The divisions destroyed in the Ardennes couldn't be replaced. The fuel couldn't be replaced. The experienced officers and tank crews, irreplaceable. And while all of this was happening in the West, the Eastern Front was left almost naked. If you're finding this story as gripping as I think you are, a subscribe helps this channel bring more untold WW2 stories to life. Back to January 45, 1945. On January 12, 1945, the Vistula-Oder Offensive launched. 2.5 million soldiers, 6,000 tanks, the largest artillery bombardment in human history. German lines didn't bend, they evaporated. In 3 weeks, the Red Army advanced from central Poland to within 50 miles of Berlin. Entire German divisions simply disappeared. The Wehrmacht was now defending a country that was physically shrinking every single day. In the West, the Allies crossed the Rhine in March. The Ruhr industrial heartland, the last functioning war production center Germany had, was encircled. 300,000 German soldiers trapped. When the Ruhr fell, Germany lost the ability to build anything. And here's the detail that reveals how completely the system had broken down. By April 1945, German units were receiving orders from a high command that no longer had any idea where those units actually were. Communications were severed, supply lines didn't exist. Commanders were issuing orders to divisions that had been destroyed weeks earlier. The state itself was fragmenting. Regional commanders started making their own decisions, some fighting, some surrendering, some just disappearing.
And in a bunker beneath Berlin, Adolf Hitler was still moving phantom armies on a map, convinced that victory was possible. The Battle of Berlin began on April 16th. 2.5 million Soviet soldiers against a defense force made up of old men, Hitler Youth, and whoever could hold a rifle. The fighting was savage, block by block, building by building, but the outcome was never in question. On April 30th, Hitler killed himself in his bunker. 2 days later, Berlin surrendered. On May 7th, what was left of the German High Command signed an unconditional surrender at Reims. The next day, May 8, 1945, the war in Europe was over. In the final 12 months alone, an estimated 1.8 million German soldiers died, more than in any other year of the war. Millions of civilians were killed, displaced, or left in the ruins of cities that no longer existed. Germany wasn't beaten by a single battle or a single mistake. It was beaten by a system that couldn't adapt, that doubled down on the wrong decisions, that fought a two-front war it could never win, and that kept going long past the point where anyone with a map could see it was over. The last year of World War II from Germany's side isn't a story of heroism or villainy. It's a story of machinery grinding itself to dust. If this is the kind of history you want more of, hit subscribe. Next up, I'm covering the New Guinea campaign, where Japan sent 350,000 soldiers into the jungle and 200,000 never came back.